The topic of discussion for today is non-odontogenic cysts, wherein these are different from the odontogenic cysts in that these are derived from remnants of embryonal processes. So now let's go in detail of them. So basically these non-odontogenic cysts, they are also called as fissural cysts. Why? So see, this is a picture of an embryo wherein it is showing the development of phase from these processes here, that is medial nasal process, lateral nasal process, maxillary process, mandibular processes, which are fusing together. So whenever there is a fusion of these embryonal processes, there will be few remnants which will remain always. So these fissural cysts, these are the cysts which are derived from epithelial cells which are entrapped between the embryonic processes of bone set union lines. So because these cysts are developed from these fissures, these are also called as fissural cysts and are also called as inclusion cysts. So now going on into the classification. How do we classify these non-odontogenic cysts? So they are classified based on their location, that is whether they are in the bone or whether they are in the soft tissue. So likewise we have intraosseous cysts, that is which are present within the bone, and we have extraosseous cysts which are present within the soft tissue. Under intraosseous cysts we have nasopalatine duct cyst, median palatine cyst, globulomaxillary cyst and median mandibular cyst. Under extraosseous cysts or soft tissue cysts, we have palatal cysts of newborn, nasolabial cysts, thyroglossal duct cysts, oral lymphepithelial cyst and epidermoid cyst. Now let's go into detail of each cyst. So firstly we will see about nasopalatine duct cyst. So this nasopalatine duct cyst, it is the most common of all these non-odontogenic ones, which is present in the midline of anterior maxilla. Now here is a picture which is showing the location of an incisive canal. So basically the nasopalatine duct, it is present within this incisive canal and it is formed during palate formation. So usually it will undergo progressive degeneration later on, but sometimes there will be persistence of few epithelial remnants. So these epithelial remnants, they become the source of epithelium to give rise to nasopalatine duct cyst. So these are the cells which will proliferate to produce this duct cyst. So how does it appear clinically? That is clinical features. So this is a clinical picture of nasopalatine duct cyst wherein there is a swelling in the midline of anterior maxilla. So sometimes it presents with pain, and if the cyst is growing larger, that is large cyst, sometimes they may erode the labial and palatal bone also, resulting in fluctuant swelling. So how it will appear radiographically? There is a well circumscribed radiolucency in or near the midline of anterior maxilla between the central incisors, like in this picture. Usually it shows a classical heart-shaped radiolucency. Can you see this? There is a heart-shaped radiolucency. Sometimes it can be round or oval also. And histopathologically, nasopalatine duct cyst, it shows highly variable epithelial lining. So here is a cystic lining which is pointing to the cystic lining. So this variable epithelial lining, it depends upon the localization of the cyst. That is stratified squamous, or it can be pseudocolumnar, it can be simple columnar. Whereas the connective tissue will show chronic inflammation, and sometimes even the capsule shows small to moderate sized nerves, arteries and veins because of the presence of incisive canal and incisive nerves. So this is about nasopalatine duct cyst. Next, moving on to the next one, median palatine